Okay, so I'm posting this video on YouTube because I find that there's not a lot of information on the internet relating to dry fasting. Um, I'm hoping that by just giving people a little taste of what I experienced, it'll help them make better decisions for themselves. And so I started my first dry fast about 2 weeks ago. Uh, I've been, a little background on me is I've been experimenting with intermittent fasting or intermittent water fasting for the last year and a half. Since moving to Croatia, where I live now, I've been, you could say, a reducitarian. I avoid meat and meat products and get my B vitamins. From mostly from dairy products. Actually, I get most of my protein from beans and nuts. Some of it from goat. I am allergic to gluten. I'm gluten intolerant. I don't have celiac disease. I'm intolerant to milk proteins from regular cows. I'm allergic to the mycotoxin forming on peanuts. And I avoid eggs because I heard years ago from Dr. Amin Ra that intake of sulfur-containing amino acids can somehow accelerate the aging process. So that's a little history on me and my diet. I a few weeks ago started horseback riding, and my horseback riding instructor introduced me to the channel of the Snake Diet guy, Cole. I decided to give it a shot. He made it seem really easy and really effortless and like not a big deal. So psychologically, having a lot of experience with fasting, and actually thinking about dry fasting as a spiritual experience for a while, I thought, why not? And I dove right into it. So 2 weeks ago, I started. I did a 3-day, a hard dry fast, followed by I did 1 day of water fasting, followed by 3 days of dry fasting, and then 2 more days of water fasting before having food again. And in that, during those 5 days, I was without food. And then for the 3 days that followed, I was intermittent fasting with 1 meal a day and eating as little amount of food as possible and consuming as little amount of water as possible. And in those 8 days, I'd managed to drop 8 kilograms. To put that number of kilograms into context, I'm 5'6" tall, and my starting weight was about 77 kilos, so I made it down to 69 kilos. I was really excited with my results. I was like so excited. My belly was flatter. I felt I had way more energy. I didn't throughout those 8 days of having reduced food and severely reduced food and water intake. I had huge amounts of energy. I actually couldn't sleep. I couldn't get more than 4 hours of sleep every night, because every morning I woke up and I was like searching for like food, but I had the willpower to not eat anything. But every single morning, like well before the sun rose, I was so like, oh, I had so much energy, and I just like my body was producing all this energy, I guess, because I mean in evolution, like in nature, I would be using that energy to find food, I guess. But the day that I broke my fast from food, I felt like, actually, let me start with when I broke my dry fast. I felt like I could have kept going for like several more days. I felt really good, really relaxed. I'd been exercising. I wasn't like, you know, lying down and meditating all day. I was a working girl. I was modeling. I do modeling at a local art faculty, doing nude poses for the art students. And that's pretty intense, because you're basically doing yoga for 2 to 3 hours holding these poses. And I was running around town, I was biking, I was extremely active, carrying like lots of heavy textbooks around because I'm also a student. And I had no problems. I was like over the moon with energy and excitement, and seeing like my super rapid progress, dropping kilo by kilo, day by day. And that helped keep me going. And for some reason, by the third day of that dry fast, I decided I wanted to have something. Like, there was no physical need. I wasn't dizzy. I didn't have a dry mouth. My kidneys didn't hurt. And those are supposed to be like the top signs to stop the fast, to stop your dry fast. But I just had a bit of water. And then a couple days later, as I was water fasting, I felt like I could have continued, but I decided I'm going to probably start this again next week, so I'll just cap it off here and see how far I go next time. In retrospect, I wish I didn't do that. I wish I was more regimented, and that I pushed it a little bit further, because when I did go back into it the next week, I actually got my period. So I was bleeding, and so I had, like, I guess maybe slightly lower blood pressure from that. I think I became anemic, and as I was modeling the next week, like 24 hours into my dry fast, I was standing on a table modeling for students, and I always have music playing. And I stopped being able to like hear the music, like my hearing got fuzzy, and I stopped being able to focus, my focus got fuzzy, and then before I knew it, I was staring up at the ceiling. And when you're modeling, life modeling, you're naked. And when I woke up, when I noticed that I was no longer looking down at the students on the table, but I was actually lying on the floor looking up at the ceiling, like my hands were covered in blood, and I had this, what you see here is a little scar. My chin hit the table, and it separated all the fat off of my chin, so I could see the underlying fascia and the digastric muscle. Yeah, the anterior belly of the digastric is what that muscle is called. And they called the ambulance. I'm in a foreign country, and I didn't really want to have to go through a foreign medical care system. So I declined any medical attention, and I treated it myself because I've experienced an emergency in standard first aid, and my dad's a doctor, and I've assisted him in surgeries. So it wasn't a big deal. Just used some Steri-Strip external stitches, and it's been healing up nicely. But when I checked under my eye, like that skin there was pale as can be. It was so pale. So like I'd lost blood from my period. I'd lost blood from bleeding all over the place. I had not taken in any nutrients from not eating properly for 2 weeks. And I don't know, I've been kind of on the road to recovery. That's the first time in my entire life that I'd fainted. And I didn't even realize how dizzy I was. So one warning to anyone who's dry fasting is to really take it easy. Dry fasting on its own is an extreme behavior. It's not really sanctioned by any kind of healthcare system or any kind of health promotion, government funded, information program. There's no government pamphlets being handed out on how to do a safe dry fast. And so most people who are going on the edge of thought, out on the edge of what they know is possible for themselves, they are dry fasting. And those are the kind of people like me who I think are the most at risk of pushing themselves too far. And that's what happened with me. I have no regrets. It was a great learning experience, but the next time I dry fast, I'm going to be really, really careful, and I'm definitely going to be drinking snake juice. So if you go onto the Snake Diet on Cole's channel, you'll find out the video on how to make snake juice. And I think that was the biggest thing, because my blood pressure just plummeted. There was not enough, like, as I was standing still in this pose before I fainted, all my blood had pooled in my feet, and there was not enough blood volume to be pushed into my brain to deliver nutrients to keep my brain functioning. So you need, when you're dry fasting, you need to replenish your electrolytes. You need to replenish your electrolytes. You need to replenish your electrolytes. And most importantly, you need to remember to not just have your salt, like your sodium chloride, but it's so super important to get your salts of magnesium and potassium. Also important are iodine and calcium. You'll get iodine from iodized salt if you're just using regular salt in your snake juice. So don't use only Himalayan salt. Use some table salt. Get some iodine. Also potassium. So in Croatia, I found like this potassium supplement. This is not ideal though, because after translating the like non-medicinal ingredients, there's actually sugar in here, which will probably kick me out of ketosis and fuck up the dry fast. So I went on to Amazon and I ordered potassium chloride, sorry. For your snake juice, you'll need sodium bicarbonate, you'll need iodized table salt, Himalayan sea salt, food grade Epsom salt or magnesium sulfate. I have access at a local health food store to magnesium chloride, so that's just as good, I think. I had to order that potassium chloride online. It's also great to get some calcium in you somehow. There are half salt supplements that half salt, like salt substitutes you can buy, and I recommend that. And yeah, so I fainted. That's like the big thing I wanted to get through in this video. Dry fasting is something to not take lightly, as like I'm sure all of your friends and family will tell you that you're probably crazy for considering dry fasting, but the health benefits of doing a dry fast are so monumental. Weight loss is so fast, loose tissue just disappears. I really want to experiment with this more to possibly correct my short-sightedness, to remove cellulite, loose skin, to clear up my skin, which I had a lot of results during that dry fast. I also noticed during my dry fast that my breasts got bigger. My first dry fast where I was like super high on energy, everything felt great, I didn't faint. It was my second dry fast that I was a little bit too ambitious with. My first dry fast, I also, I was so paranoid about what the heck was going to happen that I spent my first day like resting at home, totally in my space, meditating. And for my second dry fast, it was just go, go, go. I didn't take any time for myself to breathe, to reflect. If you dry fast, you must reflect. Like spend time every day. If you're gonna do an active dry fast where you're, doing your job, doing your work, working out, doing your life as you would normally, then you have to take some time at the end of your day or throughout your day to reflect on what is going on. If I had done that during my first dry fast, I would have been far more aware of what worked and what didn't, so that when I went into my second dry fast, I wouldn't have been so overconfident, and I probably wouldn't have bunged up my chin. Okay, quick little review. So dry fasting. So, if you're gonna dry fast, make sure you have snake juice. You can drink as much snake juice as you want. Go onto Cole's page, Snake Diet channel, YouTube, and look up his amazing recipe for snake juice. So have snake juice. reflect. Notice what's working, what's not working. If you're being too active, not active enough, reflect on your feelings, your thoughts, how focused you are. Because when it comes to dizziness and fatigue, those things creep up on you. You don't really realize that you're dizzy until it's almost too late. So just be really, really careful while you're dry fasting. Reflect, snake juice, yeah, like another thing I would have done differently is I would have also taken body measurements, because I was taking my weight every day, and that was super motivating. Like I was seeing like how I was just completely, like, weight was just falling off in the most beautiful way. My waistline was getting smaller, but also my breasts were getting larger and firmer. And I've heard that's because, especially for women and how our bodies react with estrogen, our fat, our adipose tissue is actually storage units for, guess what? Persistent organic pollutants that are estrogenic, estrogen mimickers. So these estrogens are locked away. They're very hard to break down. They're persistent, so they get locked away into our fat cells. And as our body breaks down the fat, it liberates these estrogens, and then those estrogens react with the body the way that any estrogens would. And one thing that those estrogens are going to do is they're going to make your skin really clear. They're going to make your breasts like tender and large and perky and wonderful. And that's kind of cool. Like, man, like as a girl, to have your waist shrink and your breasts get bigger as you're losing weight and feeling fabulous, that was like totally unexpected. That's also part of why I like dove into my second dry fast with way too much enthusiasm, because just my first dry fast, which I ended prematurely and kind of didn't really it just seemed like such a not a big deal. That was all of the great things of my first dry fast contributed to me being a total idiot on my second dry fast. Like dry fasting is easy. Dry fasting can be effortless. Dry fasting can be super effective and super healthy, but you have to reflect. You have to have your snake juice to replenish your electrolytes, and you have to take it slow. You can do all the working out, all the crazy shit that you want, but just try not to operate any heavy duty machinery. Try not to be in situations where you can't just suddenly stop. If you're in a situation where you have to keep going with something until it's over, it's much better. Like for me, when I was modeling, I was standing for 2 hours. I did 3 hours of modeling in the morning and then 2 hours of modeling in the evening. And by the end of the second hour, that's when I started to really lose it. I was in a position where I wanted to just keep going, to hold that position as long as I could. I was suffering like crazy. I was really feeling out of it, but I just wanted to push through that little bit further for the students that I was modeling for. And that was a bad idea. So I should have had snake juice, and I recommend for all you ladies who are dry fasting to please prepare that snake juice. Get prepared. Prepare so that when you are in the zone and you are dry fasting, it is easy. If you prepare adequately beforehand, everything moving forward is easy and effortless. And losing weight with dry fasting is the easiest thing in the world. I cannot wait to provide another update on how I'm doing, because I want to be so fucking hot, and I know I will be. I can see it, I can feel it. It's I'm vibrating at that level already, and I just have to follow through. Yeah, so 2 weeks ago, before my first dry fast, I did not believe any of this was possible. I did not think that I would ever be the skinny Jenny that I've always wanted to be. So that's amazing. What you imagine is possible is possible. You just have to really believe in yourself and find an outlet to practice and to take baby steps towards that which you desire. And dry fasting was like not just baby steps, but like huge leaps and bounds to seeing what my body's capable of. I wish you all the best success in health and love and peace and well-being and everything that you desire on your journey. Thank you for taking some time with me to listen to my little testimony on my first and second dry fasts. And I hope that this served you in some way. Thank you.